Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith and today we are going to be covering the Upkeep video of the Skewed perspective scenario, the one we just were able to complete successfully, this guy right here. So we were able to go through and end up killing the Prophet, and there's a whole bunch of stuff to do to prepare for the next scenario that Isaac is going to release tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's the final one of the entire Gloomhaven Kickstarter campaign, and we've been following along every step of the way, and more than ready to see this come to a conclusion of epic proportions. So I can't wait to get into it. Hope you guys enjoy it. So let's get right down to business and figure what the heck we're gonna do. So let's talk about how things went. Well, first off, I made sure to go ahead in the achievements and mention that we killed off the Prophet, because there's nothing better than writing that down. I want you guys to know this achievement section is very different in the main game. You don't just write down an achievement generically like this, but I'm just using that section right now for the purposes of this mini campaign. You'll find this party sheet to be a lot more dynamic during the campaign of the main game when you receive it than what we're actually using it for in this particular mini campaign. Little difference there, especially a lot of a difference in terms of tracking this side of things and stuff like that, and also our location and whatnot. And this one very simplistic, really. We don't really use the party sheet. I'm just using it for fun. So anyway, we wrote that down and said that we killed the Prophet, which we did, and so we're gonna get into it. So XP is the very first thing we'll talk about. So the very first thing in terms of XP, actually, you know what we'll do first is maybe the battle cards. Let's switch it up and do the battle cards first. So first off, I know halfway through the video there, someone mentioned to me you lost the aggressor card, and we did. We had a spot there in the mission. I believe it was maybe 5, 6, 7 episodes in, where maybe not that much. It might have been 4 episodes in actually, or 3. And basically we were in this room here. We cleared out all the enemies, and there was no other monsters spawned because we didn't get to the door in time. And this particular card says have 1 or more monsters present on the map at the beginning of every round. And we started a round in this room with no monsters, which effectively loses us this battle card, sadly, which would have given us, or the Tinker, the 2 check marks needed to get the next, to get a perk check mark. So we did miss out on that. However, the Cragheart was able, in the last scenario, to stay 7 or under in XP, and so he gained the layabout battle cards. It says gain 7 or fewer XP during the scenario, and you get 2 check marks. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to give ourselves those 2 check marks, which luckily have given us an extra perk, which is awesome. So something we can choose in here. Now I'm going to wait to do this yet because there's a few more things to talk about before we do it. But we'll just put that on the card so we don't forget. We'll even do a little circle here so I don't forget to give him that extra perk, and we'll jump right into the next thing. The next thing is XP. So in this one, we were playing on a scenario level 2. So again, going back to our chart here, if you're playing scenario level 2, then you're looking at 8 experience, and so we get 8 experience on top of whatever the characters gained individually. The Tinker was able to get to 4, so 4 is what we add to what the Tinker had originally. So he had 131, he got 4. We get 8 experience for winning the scenario, and the experience also generated 20 bonus experience points, as noted in the particular Skewed perspective rewards column right here, 20 extra experience. So we went ahead and it gave us a grand total of 163, which effectively puts us at the level 4 mark for this Upkeep video. So we can cross this off, and our Trance Tinker has gone ahead and moved into the 4th level, meaning that regardless of the fact he failed on the battle card, he's still going to get a perk here, so we'll be able to do that. That's really exciting. So we'll talk about that in 2 seconds right after I jump over to the Cragheart. So Cragheart for XP, same type of situation, except the Cragheart had 6 XP. A little bit of difference, but not too much. The Cragheart also had a little bit more when he started with 141. He started the scenario with that. Gained 6 from his personal experience, 8 from the bonus experience, 20 from the rewards experience, giving him a grand total of 175, also ensuring he moves up to level 4. And so we're going to see ourselves have both characters end up leveling up. So the Cragheart will get a perk check mark because of the level up, and also because of the battle goal card checkmarks completing a perk checkmark down here. So we'll have 2 to be able to pick for the Cragheart and 1 for the Tinker. So that's really exciting. So now what we'll do is I guess we'll talk about the perks that we're going to choose right off the top. Now what I did was I prepared all this in advance to save you guys trouble of having to watch me painstakingly go through this. So first off, I'm going to do the Cragheart. We'll go ahead and I'm going to show you what I've chosen for him, and it's this one right here. And I thought this was a good choice. It's add 1+1 immobilize cards. So this is going to allow him when he's doing his ranged attacks or even melee attacks to give him options in terms of, and I'm taking 2. So I've checked 2 boxes off using both perks for the same one. I've gone ahead in advance and actually taken those particular cards out of the Cragheart's box, specifically for the Cragheart, and we're going to go ahead and take those 2 cards and add them into his deck, giving him an even greater chance of pulling positive numbers on his attacks and immobilizing characters that might be melee and try to get close to him to hit him. Yes, you might be thinking, well, what about your Retaliate that you love so much? I do really love this Opposing Strike card, and I still want to use it, but there are situations where I saw the Cragheart getting into a 3-on-1 or a 4-on-1 scenario, and that's just too much, and I'd like to be able to have the ability to make an attack that then immobilizes characters, so I thought that was valid, and we get the bonus of +1 with those as well. So I've gone ahead, put the 2 perks in, we're good to go there. So now we'll move over to the Tinker. And the Tinker, again, we leveled up, so we get the choice in what we want to level up in terms of his deck. So I thought, hey, this is the final scenario. We don't have any more coming after this for this particular mini campaign. I do have my main game campaign in a separate playlist that you guys can catch up on, and I'll be continuing that. But because in the next video coming up, we'll be playing the final scenario of this mini campaign for Kickstarter, I'm like, you might as well go for the best bang for your buck. So I went for this one here that says if I'm only getting 1, I'll check this and get myself 2 +1 cards added into his deck just to give him that extra edge of having a better chance of pulling positive numbers. So we're getting 2 more +1s adding into his mountainous deck over here. And again, I'll have to shuffle these at the start of the next game. But that essentially covers the perks for not only the battle cards, the check marks down here, and also the leveling. So we did that correctly. The next thing we're going to do is I'll talk about another part of leveling. When you level up to level 4, like the Tinker and Cragheart just did, you unlock cards that are specific to the class, which we've talked about before. We get level 4 cards. So I've gone ahead and pulled those level 4 cards to show you guys what those are. These are some pretty impressive cards. So we got one here called Kinetic Assault. Move 1, attack 4, and it has a retaliate of 3 at range 3 with giving you 2 experience, but you lose the card if you do. But still, very, very useful move 1/4. The reason that that's cool is that if you get pushed back or a scenario affects you so that you don't have to use a move on the bottom on your other card, you can actually get to the character you want to fight just using the top section. Very handy. And one card being that the Cragheart doesn't have very many high initiative cards, or sorry, low, I guess, in this case, but 13 is like the lowest, then jumps to 29, whereas the Tinker has like 17, 18, 19, 20, like lots of very perfect get you to going first in the round type cards. And it's nice to see a 19 come up for the Cragheart, so I'm thinking this is a smart move. The other card here is called Rock Slide, also very thematic and very cool. You know what, guys, at the end of the day, I couldn't choose what I wanted to bring in or out, so I'm bringing them both in. So I'm bringing them both in the deck. This one here says create 3 single hex obstacles and an empty hexes within range 4, giving you tons of creativity in terms of how you lay those 3 out. As long as you can, now the rules state you can't create an obstacle that blocks off a path completely. But what that's cool for using is for a situation where you want to funnel enemies through a particular, almost like a canyon kind of, so that there's only one option for them to head to you, so that you can use something like the Tinker's traps and effectively force them to come through that one spot with that trap and take that damage. This is really handy. I remember I had another card in my deck way back that said create 1 hex obstacle. It was like, yeah, that's cool, but that doesn't really give you the ability to be creative in how you lay them out too much. And I think it was within, like, I think it had to be adjacent to you. This lets you do it within range 4. It gives you all kinds of opportunities. So again, you're seeing your character develop and get stronger as it goes. These 4 cards are really, really strong. And then the bottom here has a crazy move 6, and you have to move in a straight line, but still, in a lot of cases, that's doable. So having the freedom to move that many spaces almost can save you in certain situations, especially when we played this last scenario where I had a spot where the Tinker had failed and the Craighart could have used 6 to get himself like all the way over to here and stuff like that. It just gets you more options of moving around, and it's something he's a little weak at is quick movement. So this is golden, and the fact you don't lose it is even better. So I picked both of these. The cards I have to swap out with, because remembering your hand limit of 11, you can't have more cards in your hand that go over your limit of cards. So you have to remove some of your deck. I had to pick 2, make some tough choices. So I picked the 2 cards that I typically don't use the most, at least to the highest advantage. And I think out of all of these, this one, I mean, I did use move 3 in the past quite a bit. It's not his strongest move card. He's got a move 4 here. But now that I've got this move 6, this is a nice bump up. Even though it's only limiting me to straight lines, you know, in most cases I'll be able to do a straight line with 2 or 3, and it's okay. So I'm thinking that this is all right. It might cap me in some situations, but it might benefit me. The other thing is I never really use this backup ammunition card, and it's not that it's bad. It's just my chosen tactics are to have retaliate on, because I typically like to try to be able to get through shields, whereas this one allows you to just add targets. So I thought this was a good one to let go, being 77. And then this one over here, I love the top action. I even like this, but I really realized I wasn't using this ever in any situation, and it's not because I didn't like it. I just was having a hard time generating any leaf elements as of right now. You'll notice here that the Craighart does have the ability at some point to add 2 rolling modifiers that give you leaf cards. So there's a situation where you could kind of find some synergy in order to get those leaf cards in there. But as you can see, the Tinker only has 1 leaf generating card on his side, and the Craighart can't generate leaf in the same round he wants to use it. So this card just didn't really see as much use as it might have, even though the thing wanes down only 1 column per round. So again, choices, right? You got to make choices, pros and cons. I just thought these were really amazing. And the fact that only one of these is a losable section, whereas in this combo, 2 of them are losable. I kind of like this, and it gets him going a little earlier. So I'm choosing to put these in his rack. That's what I'm choosing, and I'm taking these cards and letting them go. Now for the Tinker, a little bit easier in terms of decisions. I got 2 cards again with the Tinker. Both are very cool. One's a little more aggressive with a 22. It's called Microbots. It's going to allow him to heal at a range 3 and get 2 experience, but you lose it, or move 3 and loot. So you kind of become like a looting character, but realize this card is, I think, the only card I've seen of his so far that you lose it on using either of those abilities. And I'm typically not too much of a fan of that, but I could see how some people would be. And the reason is that the Tinker is a card hoarder. Like, of all the characters I've played so far, it's one of the characters that I like from the reason that he never really seems to get into a crunch for losing cards. He's usually got like 5 or 6 by the end of the round. So for those individuals not scared to lose cards, these are powerful abilities. They're very, very handy, especially heal 6. But to me, just not worth it. In my combination with having the necklace teeth and some other things, the stamina potion, the ring, all kinds of other things to block damage, I don't really think I need this right now. I might regret it, but that's my choice. What I'm going to actually bring into the deck is a really cool summon. We're going to see a brand new summon for the Tinker. He's going to start being able to build what's called a summoning battle bot, and it's got 6 health, 2 movement, very similar to the summoning decoy that he has currently. I've been using that for the majority of the entire game. But now this individual is going to be able to actually attack. So we're actually going to have somebody who can do some damage. So it's going to be really cool to kind of get away from the card that we've been using the entire time and actually bring someone out that not only is going to distract others, but also attack them. So that's what I've chosen. This card, or these 2 cards, will end up going back in the deck, and the Summon Battle Bot will become part of my hand for the final scenario. So that's essentially the cards in terms of leveling up. The next thing to talk about is let's talk about gold. So in terms of gold, the Craighart was able to gather 2 coins. We're at scenario level 2. The conversion rate for scenario level 2 in gold is a 6, as you can see there. Sorry for that shadow there. But yeah, 6. So we get 6 gold. We'll see it right there. 18 he had originally, plus 6 is 24. Here's his 18 shown in, these are 5 each, the golds, and these are 1 each. So he's got his 18 right here. Here's his 6 that he's getting. So this is how much he's got in the bank. So it was a total of 24. Come on, you can focus. And then over to the Tinker, who's got 19, had 10 to start the scenario and gained 9. He gained 9 from these 3 coins. So we'll take these coins away, along with the Tinker's coins, put them back in, and we're gonna give him his 9, I'm sorry. So it's gonna be 9 plus the 10 that he's got over here. So now he's got, looks like 15, 19 coins, right? So that's the addition there. Perfect. So we're all squared away. Now, the one thing I want to talk about first before we talk about shopping in terms of purchasing things to get ready for the next scenario is, in this scenario, in terms of rewards, we gained what was called an empowering talisman. A talisman. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it's this card right here. So this is the card we've gained, and it's a 45. It costs 45 to purchase it, so that's pretty heavy. It's a very expensive one, probably the most expensive card we have. And it says during your turn, refresh one of your consumed items. So it is pretty powerful. It's very, very useful, but it does take a head slot. And that's kind of the issue. It's not that it's a bad thing. I guess the issue becomes, is it worth it over something else? Now with the Craighart, I've got a head slot, and it is worth 30, but it gives me advantage on the entire attack action. I love this card for the fact it stops those nulls and those negatives from hitting me in most cases. And over here, I love the fact that I'm able to heal my Tinker for free and having an extra heal. I just don't think having this is as worth it, being that it's a one-time use card, even though it's 45. So how I'm going to play this is, because it's a reward, and typically the way the game works is that whatever gold you have for the Tinker, whatever gold you have for the Craighart, you keep separate, you don't trade gold. So I don't really know how to play this one. I'm going to just not use this card. But I don't know, there might be, like in the rules, it doesn't state that you can sell it to the store for half value and then split the money. Typically somebody owns this, and usually what happens is you have to decide which person's going to own it. So at the end of the day, I don't think I have the money because I'm buying what I need already, and I'll talk about that in a second. So for now, I'm going to ignore it, but maybe at the start of the next video, I'll let you guys know if I've decided to sell this, or sorry, if I've decided to give it to one of these characters specifically, and then whether I want to sell it for half of its value. Now, I want you guys to understand that when you sell cards back to the store, you get half of the value stated on the card. So you'd have to divide this in half, and then I don't know if you round up or round down, but it's probably round down, and then you go from there. So anyway, very, very cool card and stuff like that. Regardless, very, very cool artwork, and really, really does pop, and very, very powerful, I guess, in certain situations, but something that I'm debating keeping. So we'll put that down here for now and leave it alone. So let's go shopping. Let's talk about the Craighart here. Craighart's got 20 gold plus the 4, so he's got 24 gold. Now, I went and looked through the shopping cards. Now, I just want you guys to know, based on an original, this was from way back when Gloomhaven, or not when Gloomhaven, but when Issac started this campaign, and he had stated right here, he said, finally items 29 to 35, when scenario 9 is finished, are unlocked. So he's talking about this deck of cards, and there's tons more. And just so you guys know, this is a fraction of the item cards that are in the box for Gloomhaven. I've just pulled out only from 1 to 35, or essentially is what's in play right now. I think it goes up to 100 or something like that, or even more. It's craziness. But this is what we've unlocked for this campaign in terms of purchasing. So I'll show you what is in those. I'll show you what is in that stuff. But at the same time, I'm kind of hesitant to be honest, and I might not. Not because I don't want to show you guys, but I also don't want to spoil things for you. And I think it's kind of exciting to see. You know, I'm starting to see now that these things are unlocking some things that I may not have wanted to see necessarily. But I think it's cool. But I don't really want to show you anything. So what I'm going to do is show you the cards I've chosen to purchase, and I want to let you know that I haven't picked anything that's earth-shattering or ground-shakingly a spoiler. And I will tell you right now that he unlocked something in this run from 1 to 35 that is technically spoiler territory. I'm sure he knows about it because he's the one who chose to do it, but I'm just not going to do it because I just don't want to go down that road of, you know, I just don't want to do anything that's going to necessarily upset somebody and go, well, that just kind of ruined that surprise for me. I don't want you to even know what that is going to be. So I'm leaving that alone. I'm going to pick some cards that are still very strong, very fun, but just not going to be, when I saw that card, I was like, oh, what do I do? Do I use this? I don't know. So anyway, we'll leave it alone. So the Craighart, what he's going to do with his money is purchase 2 things. And these are the 2 things I thought were amazingly cool. So this one seems really lame, but there's a reason for it. So this is essentially just a minor healing potion. It means essentially at the end of the day, I've got some money to burn. I'm going to spend 10 coins in order to get this item in my hand because the Craighart, as of right now, only has 1 bag item. And he's a level 4, and you can always carry half of your level rounded up. And so as of right now, I only have 1. So this would be a nice one to grab. You can't ever own 2 of the same. The other one that I really thought was cool is this one, comfortable shoes. And it sounds kind of lame. You're like, why the heck would you pick that? But the Craighart's really weak at running and moving around. So this thing says, whenever you use the default bottom of an ability card, perform a move 3 action instead. So essentially what that means is it turns every single bottom of all of his cards into move 3, meaning that he turns into a running machine. Like I can pretty much get him around the map that much quicker, and it cost me 30. So at the end, this is going to cost me a total of 40. Well, in order to have these boots on, I don't have any use for the boots of striding anymore, which are going to give me the extra 2 movement on a movement, and they're exhausted typically, whereas these ones are always a bonus persistently. So I'm going to sell this to the bank for half its value, giving me 2 more 5s back into my pile. So this is going to disappear. And then this one here, the Stormblade, we got this way earlier as a reward, and I gave it to the Craighart. We are going to sell it because I do not have cards currently in my deck generating wind. However, just so you guys are aware, the Craighart can actually pick cards that generate wind, but my thoughts were, when the heck is that going to actually show up for me? Doesn't seem like a card that really pairs with him as usefully as it might be. So this one seemed ripe for the selling, so I'm going to sell this one for 15, getting half. So now I've got enough, and if I look, I've got 40 to spend. I'm going to spend, there's 20 right there, and there's another 20. So there you go. There's my 40. So I'm purchasing all these 2 cards. In the next video, I'll have them sleeved and ready to go. That's my mindset. I've only got that much left, so that's okay. And the rest I'm happy with. I like these other ones, so I'm not going to change them. That's pretty much it. Now the Craighart's also going to boost up in level 4 all the way to 16 HP when he starts the next round, which is really cool. For the Tinker, very straightforward and simple. Didn't have as much money, only had 19. I am going to sell the Iron Helm. I've had this for a couple rounds now and didn't use it that much because I like the Necklace of Teeth better. It's only going to give me 5 back, but I'm going to sell it. So this is going to go back to the store. And then the Boots of Striding I'm going to sell as well, or Boots of Sterling. So sorry guys, this is the last time you'll see the Boots of Sterling, as I've said in other videos incorrectly. The Boots of Sterling are going away forever. So they're being sold, and what are we going to get instead? Well guys, I just couldn't give up the idea that having that extra move is going to save me later in case this last mission becomes a daunting, insane... It looks like we're going towards the cavern one, so it looks like it's going to be a long journey. I want to be prepared and have comfortable shoes. So this one's, I got 15 here, and I've got 15 here, and that is enough. I will be purchasing the comfortable shoes for the Tinker, and I'll be sleeving that and getting that ready. And that, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is absolutely everything. I think that sums up the Battle Gold cards, the XP, the gold, the leveling up, the new cards in the deck, the shopping aspect of things, and man, would I ever love to show you some of the wonderful shopping items that are in this deck, but I'm gonna save it. I think you guys are gonna love to see that stuff when you want, and I really want this whole video series to be as spoiler free as possible, but I really want you guys to experience that on your own, from your own hard-earned money when you get this game in the mail. Still, I think we got some good items, and I think we're more than set up to get into battle here. Just so you know, the Tinker's level 4 as well, so the Tinker will jump to 12. Doesn't get as much of a boost in health, but hey, more health is more health, and we'll take it. We've had too many situations where we've been down at the end there. But that's pretty much it, guys. We have covered everything we need. At this point, we're just waiting on Isaac, and that will be tomorrow. There'll be a release. I want to let you guys know that I likely won't be doing filming on Monday, but I will be picking up the final scenario on Tuesday and releasing videos on Tuesday, and then we'll finish this series out. So hope you've been enjoying. If you have, hit the like button, let me know, and please subscribe if you want to see more. And also, I also want to let you know that I've got a lot upcoming. I hope you guys will stick around even after the Kickstarter, because there's tons of stuff I'm planning. This is not a shot in the dark. This is the beginning. So until next time, guys, keep rolling solo.